From the outside, the Ayama Saito atelier in Ginza radiated old money prestige, the kind of place that had fitted prime ministers. Inside, a young man in a gray hoodie stood near the door. He held a maroon folder against his chest.
I'm sorry, but this atelier doesn't serve walk-ins who look like delivery boys. You'll have to leave.
Funny. I should call Kurosawa. It's time for an audit.
As he passed the workshop, the apprentice with pastel pink hair slipped a fabric swatch into his palm.
Takumi glanced at the swatch. Navy wool. Perfect for a wedding suit if he'd been allowed to commission one.
On the sidewalk outside, he pulled out his phone and dialed a number stored under Kurosawa.
Kurosawa. Full audit on Aoyama Saito. Financials, customer logs, staff reviews. Start now.
Understood. I'll have the preliminary report by tonight. Is there a problem?
Takumi didn't answer. 6 months ago, his family's holding company had quietly acquired the atelier. Yoshihiro Saito had been working for them ever since. The next afternoon, Takumi sat across from Kurosawa in a quiet cafe. A tablet between them glowed with charts.
Revenue has dropped 40% over 2 years. They're bleeding clients under 30. The pattern is worse than the numbers show.
40%, and Yoshihiro just turned me away for my hoodie. This isn't arrogance, it's self-destruction.
The auditor's notes flagged a pattern. Nearly 4 in 10 customers under 30 were refused service. Aesthetic reasons was the repeated code.
The master tailor's personal standards are strangling the business. If this continues, the atelier won't survive another fiscal year.
He's been signing payroll from my family's holdings for 6 months and doesn't even know. The irony would be funny if it weren't destroying a legacy. Not yet. I'll take a closer look myself. If we move too fast, we'll spook him and lose the chance to fix this quietly.
Takumi's father had tasked him with preserving the atelier's name, not dismantling it. A quiet intervention would honor that trust.
If Yoshihiro is the problem, I need to see it up close, without the portfolio announcing who I am. Time to become someone he'll underestimate.
Within 48 hours, Takumi adopted a new identity, a junior business consultant sent to evaluate the atelier's operations. Kurosawa arranged the introduction. 2 days later, a sharply dressed man with slicked back hair entered the atelier, briefcase in hand. The door chimed. Yoshihiro Saito emerged, bowing with an obsequious smile.
Welcome. You must be the consultant. Our humble atelier is honored.
So this is the man who called me a delivery boy. A suit changes everything.
Yoshihiro led him through velvet curtains into the workshop, where tailors hunched over their benches. A young woman with pastel pink hair worked at the far end, her needle moving with quiet precision.
The apprentice who slipped me that swatch. She's hiding more than skill.
Head apprentice handles alterations. Don't mind her. Let me show you true artistry.
He dismisses her like he dismissed me. I need to see her work unobserved.
While Yoshihiro lectured on Savile Row traditions, Takumi's eyes stayed on the apprentice whose fingers never paused. The lecture froze mid-sentence. Yoshihiro's gaze had landed on Kaori's stitching, his expression curdling.
Is that your idea of a French seam? Sloppy, uneven. A child with a sewing kit could do better.
I followed the house manual exactly. Every stitch by the book. Why does he always find fault?
Fix it before the client sees, and remember, I tolerate your presence only because the owner insists on youth development.
He treats her like a burden, but her hands... I saw precision in that seam, not sloppiness. He's lying to protect something.
Yoshihiro turned back to Takumi with a practiced smile, as if the outburst had been a masterclass in discipline. Kaori's fingers steadied after a moment. She unpicked the seam and began again, face unreadable but not broken.
He's not just arrogant. He breaks talented people to keep his throne unchallenged. The audit wasn't enough.
Around them, the other tailors kept their heads down. No one spoke. That evening, alone in his office, Takumi added a line to his report. Immediate talent assessment required for apprentice Kaori Fujisaki. Over the next 2 days, Takumi conducted quiet interviews with the junior staff. Their answers came in murmurs and averted eyes.
Confirmed. Nearly half the inquiries are dismissed before a measurement. The master's standards are a filter for anyone under 40.
But the staff kept one name out of their whispers: Kaori. No one would speak of her work. Late that evening, after the atelier emptied, Takumi returned to the workshop. He had one more lead to chase. He remembered a loose floorboard near Kaori's station. Something had caught his eye during Yoshihiro's tantrum. Beneath it lay a leather binder, its pages thick with pencil sketches.
This isn't apprenticeship work. These are full collections. Modern cuts, asymmetrical lines, designs that could launch a brand.
Page after page, the sketches revealed a talent Yoshihiro had buried under seam ripping and scolding.
He's not just rejecting customers, he's suppressing a designer who could save this place. The question now is how to bring her out.
Takumi closed the binder gently. He left the atelier with a decision forming, not of punishment, but of partnership. Kaori had come back for her notebook. Instead, she found the consultant beside the open floorboard, her leather binder in his hands.
Step away from that. Who are you? That's private.
My name is Takumi Aoyama. My family's holding company acquired this atelier 6 months ago. I'm not a consultant.
Aoyama? The owner? So he just watched the master tear me apart and said nothing.
Your designs are extraordinary. Yoshihiro buried them because he fears talent. I want to stop him.
Stop him and what? Put me in his chair? The culture here is the sickness, not just one man.
Then let's create a new culture, a separate line under your creative direction. But I need your help to remove him cleanly.
He's offering a future I'd given up on. But trust isn't earned in one conversation. If we do this, my name goes on the label. No more head apprentice, hidden behind a master who breaks people.
Takumi extended his hand. After a breath, Kaori took it, an alliance sealed in the dark of an atelier that had forgotten how to change. 2 days later, a quiet corner of a Nakameguro cafe became their planning room. A laptop glowed between them.
Forget the leather binder. Show me where your designs would go if no one stopped you.
Here. A capsule collection for clients under 35. Deconstructed tailoring. The silhouette is old house, but the fabrics are rebellious.
This isn't just tailoring, it's fashion with a heartbeat. Our atelier hasn't produced energy like this in decades.
No velvet ropes. No by appointment. Walk-in fittings for anyone who respects the craft. That's how we rebuild.
You'll need a name for the line. Something that signals legacy and change. Aoyama's second line if you'll wear it.
He's trusting me with the family name. No one in that workshop ever used my first name without a sigh. Aoyama second line. Let's make it real.
The cafe's afternoon light shifted to orange. Takumi didn't glance at his phone once.
The audit uncovered a crisis. But sitting here, I'm holding the cure. She just needed someone to believe in her.
The next morning, Takumi met Kurosawa in a high-rise conference room overlooking Tokyo. Legal documents fanned across the table.
The resolution for removal is drafted. Non-negotiable early retirement. Clean but final.
The man who humiliated me will lose his atelier. But if I do nothing, Kaori's talent stays buried and the business collapses.
You don't look satisfied. This is what the audit demanded.
He's arrogant and damaging. But he's also a craftsman who gave 40 years. Removing him feels like cutting off a piece of the atelier's soul.
You're not responsible for his choices. He chose to abuse his position. Your responsibility is to the people he's hurt.
Father's words echo, preserve what is good, prune what is rotten. This isn't cruelty, it's triage.
Takumi picked up the pen. The resolution lay before him, a single page that would end Yoshihiro Saito's tenure.
Finalize it, but I'll deliver the news myself. He deserves to hear it from me, not from a courier or a lawyer.
Kurosawa nodded. The resolution was sealed. Outside the window, Tokyo's skyline looked on, indifferent to the fate of one tailor. The following Monday, Takumi Ayama walked into the atelier wearing a gray hoodie and holding the maroon portfolio. No glasses, no slicked back hair.
The delivery boy? No, that's impossible.
Good afternoon, Saito-san. You may remember me. I visited 3 weeks ago asking for a wedding suit.
Whatever you're selling, I'll have security escort you out. This atelier does not entertain unqualified walk-ins.
Actually, my family purchased this atelier 6 months ago. The holding company you've drawn payroll from, that's us.
Yoshihiro's face turned the color of cold ash. The measuring tape slid from his shoulders. He'd been working for the boy he'd humiliated.
This is absurd. If you think you can come in here and...
Under your stewardship, revenue dropped 40%. Nearly half of young clients turned away for aesthetic reasons. I have the full audit.
He placed the resolution on the desk, a single page offering early retirement in exchange for a clean exit. Yoshihiro stared at the page. His 40-year legacy ended with that piece of paper. Outside, the atelier bells chimed for someone else. Within the hour, the atelier's entire staff gathered in the converted workshop. Takumi stood at the front, the maroon portfolio open on a table.
I'm not the consultant you were told about. My family owns this atelier. My name is Takumi Ayama.
Gasps filled the room. Yoshihiro stood frozen by the door, his face still the color of cold ash.
Effective immediately. Master Saito will retire early. The atelier will continue under new creative leadership. I'm appointing Kaori Fujisaki as head designer and director of a new sub-brand, Aoyama Second Line.
The name we chose in secret. In a cafe now everyone knows. It's real.
Among the staff, shock and hope battled. Some knew her sketches, others only the quiet apprentice who absorbed insults.
You're giving my atelier to a child who can't sew a straight line? This is an insult to the craft.
He didn't wait for an answer. The door slammed, his footsteps echoing down the hallway into silence. Kaori faced the silence. The atelier's oldest chapter had closed, its new one had no pages yet. Kaori stepped into the center of the workshop, her leather binder now open. The tailors formed a loose circle around her.
I've spent 3 years watching this atelier turn away talent and customers. That ends now.
A voice from the back, older and worn. How do you expect to lead when you couldn't even satisfy Saito-sama?
I couldn't satisfy him because he was afraid of what I could do. These sketches are proof.
2 designs pinned side by side, the atelier's traditional silhouette and Kaori's deconstructed modern cut. The difference silenced the room. One of the youngest apprentices, a boy who'd nearly quit under Yoshihiro, stared at the designs with a spark returning to his eyes.
Aoyama Second Line will open workshops to clients of any age, any style, craftsmanship, not gatekeeping.
She's giving them what Yoshihiro never did, a reason to believe again. This is the atelier's future speaking.
No applause, but the silence that followed was no longer hostile. Murmurs of possibility replaced the earlier doubt. As the staff disbanded, Takumi approached and placed a hand on her shoulder, not to touch a partner, but to steady a new leader. That night, long after the staff left, only 2 lamps burned in the workshop. Takumi and Kaori leaned over blueprints of the new line.
My father was a tailor too. He used to say a suit should carry the story of the person wearing it.
I never told Akari that anniversary dinner got pushed for a board meeting. But Kari, I tell her things without planning to.
They reached for the same fabric swatch at the same moment. Their fingers stopped an inch apart and neither moved.
I can't. He's engaged, and I just became head designer. This line between us is already drawn.
The navy wool. From your portfolio's first page. That was for a wedding suit, wasn't it?
I designed it for someone who loved the craft, not the status. But I never found the right client. Here, feel the weave.
They worked until the street lamps outside the atelier flickered on. The idea of the second line had become inseparable from the 2 of them.
I'm marrying Akari in 3 months. Why does my chest ache when I think about leaving this workshop?
In the dark of his apartment, Takumi didn't reach for his phone to call Akari. He stared at the ceiling, and the ache stayed. A week later, Takumi stood in the fitting room, a muslin prototype pinned across his shoulders. Kaori circled him, pins in hand.
The shoulder needs a half-inch drop. You carry tension here. A wedding suit should let you breathe.
She sees what I'm hiding. Even when she's measuring seams, she's reading me. No one else does that.
The door chimed. Akari stepped in, a small bag of pastries in hand, her smile ready until she saw them framed in the mirror.
Surprise! I thought I'd steal an hour with you. Oh, you're busy. I can wait. He hasn't looked at me the same since this atelier business started. Not since her. Something's shifted.
Akari, this is Fujisaki-san, the new head designer. She's been kind enough to handle my suit personally.
Fujisaki-san. The one who took over after that old man left. You've mentioned her. It's nice to finally meet you.
The room filled with a scent of pastries and starch. Akari's laugh came a beat too late. When Takumi returned home that evening, Akari didn't mention the fitting, but her hand paused above his before she said goodnight. The next morning, Takumi sat on the edge of his bed. Kaori's portfolio open beside Akari's framed photo.
Kaori understands my mind. But Akari trusted me before I had anything. I owe her more than a doubt.
He stood, walked to the bathroom, and splashed cold water on his face. In the mirror, his eyes stared back.
If I abandon Akari now, I become the kind of man who breaks promises when something newer feels truer.
He returned to the bedroom, closed the portfolio gently, and picked up his phone.
Akari, can we have lunch today? There's something I want to say.
At the restaurant, Takumi reached across the table and took both of her hands.
I've been distant. The atelier takeover consumed me, but I'm here now. I'm choosing us.
You're carrying something heavy. I can see it. But if you're choosing us, I'll believe you.
They clinked glasses. The ache in his chest didn't vanish, but it was quieter now, buried under a promise he intended to keep. 2 months after the restaurant toast, a Roppongi fashion show unveiled Aoyama's second line. Models strode in deconstructed tailoring, fabric rebellious.
These clothes are for people who want to be seen as they are, not as status expects.
Watching from third row, Takumi recognized the navy wool, a fabric that once held too many unspoken words.
The audience rose. Kaori bowed, tears pressing at the corners of her eyes. The workshop staff cheered from backstage. The next morning's headline, Ayama Atelier Reborn. New line breaks tradition, wins crowds.
The portfolio I hid under a floorboard is now on every newsstand. Yoshihiro's shadow is gone.
In his office, Takumi folded the newspaper. Her triumph was complete. His role was done.
Later that week, Kaori cut the ribbon at the second line's Ginza storefront. Cameras flashed.
She doesn't need me anymore. Maybe she never did. But I needed to see her fly.
He sent a single message. The atelier is yours now. Congratulations, Kaori. She read it and smiled, alone. In a cramped Shimokitazawa bar, Yoshihiro Saito hunched over a stained counter. The evening news droned above his head. A newspaper lay creased beside his shochu glass, the same headline he'd tried to ignore all week.
Aoyama! That name was supposed to be my legacy. Now it's attached to a girl who once trembled at my voice.
Outside, Takumi slowed his pace. Through the smudged glass, he recognized the familiar slump of the man who'd once thrown him out.
I ruined him. But if I hadn't, he'd have ruined everyone else. Justice isn't clean.
He could walk in, buy the man a drink, offer some empty dignity. Instead, he adjusted his collar and kept walking. Inside, the former master tailor poured the last of the shochu. The TV switched to a weather report.
40 years, and the only person who still remembers me is the boy I wronged.
By the time Takumi reached the station, the ache in his chest had shifted. Not gone, but gentler, like an old bruise. He never looked back at the bar. The chapter was closed. The wedding was 10 days away. The garden chapel in Yokohama was dressed in ivory roses. The afternoon light filtered through the stained glass without clouds.
The shoulder drop is right. She was right about the tension. Today, I breathe.
When Akari stepped into the aisle, the murmuring stopped. Her gown caught the light like a promise.
The navy wool looks exactly as I dreamed it would. But the story inside that suit isn't mine to tell.
They exchanged vows under the floral arch. Takumi's voice did not tremble. The ring slid onto his finger without resistance. The weight felt different than he'd imagined.
He chose her, and I built a line that carries my name now. That's a different kind of vow.
The officiant pronounced them married. Applause rose like a flock of birds into the garden sky. At the reception, Kaori raised her glass from across the room. Their eyes met 1 second, no more. The newlyweds walked hand in hand past the last table. The door to the garden stood open, and beyond it, the rest of their lives. The reception music shifted to a slower rhythm. Kaori set her glass on a passing tray and moved toward the terrace doors.
I should leave. The suit is his now, and the line is mine. That's a clean division.
She turned, and he was there. Only a few feet away, his hand still carrying the weight of the wedding band.
She built the suit that carried me through today. I never properly thanked her. Kaori, the suit was perfect. Thank you.
It was my privilege. Be happy, Takumi.
Their handshake lingered a second too long. Not a promise, an acknowledgement.
Goodbye, what if? Hello, second line.
She walked out into the cool night. The city glittered, indifferent and open. Takumi watched her go. When he returned to Akari's side, his smile was real and a little heavier. By the following autumn, the Ayama second line occupied 3 floors in Omotesando. Kaori's name appeared on every masthead. At the Japanese Fashion Awards, she stepped onto the stage alone. The spotlight caught the edge of her pink hair.
This award belongs to every tailor who was told their voice didn't fit the room. We changed the room?
Later, in her studio, she set the trophy on a shelf beside her father's old shears. On her desk, a simple business card read, Kaori Fujisaki, Creative Director. She picked it up.
Takumi gave me the name, but I filled it. Some gifts don't require holding on to the giver.
She tucked the card into her jacket pocket, the same jacket she designed for her first solo show.
The atelier that once shunned a boy in a hoodie now trains apprentices who wear whatever they want. That's the legacy.
The city below spread its lights like a promise. Kaori turned back to her drafting table. There was a new collection to sketch. She never glanced back at the business card. Some things are meant to be carried forward, not looked at. In his office on the 31st floor, Takumi opened the top drawer of his desk. Financial reports sat stacked, untouched that evening. Inside, beneath a spare fountain pen, lay Kaori's business card. He hadn't looked at it since the wedding.
The atelier that rejected me now prints her name. I'd call that justice.
His wedding band caught the desk lamp's glow as he turned the card over. No message, only her title.
We built something that outlasted both of us. That's more than most people get.
He didn't need to call her. The atelier reports that crossed his desk every quarter were conversation enough.
I chose the woman who chose me at my worst, and I helped the woman whose talent deserved the world. Regret would cheapen both.
He placed the card gently back in the drawer, beside the maroon portfolio that started it all.
The atelier is in good hands. I'm in good hands. Some stories don't need sequels.
He stood, turned off the lamp, and walked toward the door. Outside, Tokyo's lights blinked on, one after another. Months later, a quarterly review brought Takumi to Kaori's Omotesando studio. They sat across a glass table, spreadsheets between them.
Revenue up 12% year on year. The under 35 segment is now our strongest demographic.
The same demographic Yoshihiro turned away. It's almost poetic.
When the meeting ended, they shook hands. Professional, warm. The handshake lasted exactly the right amount of time.
Nothing left unsaid. That's its own kind of closure.
Outside, the second line's storefront hummed with life. Apprentices in hoodies and suits alike sketched beside master tailors. Kaori returned to her window. The city spread before her. Somewhere in the maze of towers, Takumi was heading home. Sunrise found Tokyo again. The atelier's lights were already on. Not because of old grudges, but because new stories were being cut from fresh cloth. A tailor once refused to fit a suit. That refusal wove a new thread through the city. The original atelier on Ginza's side street looked unchanged. Gold lettering still spelled out Aoyama Saito. But the wrought iron gate beneath now carried a new brass plaque. The holding company's crest sat beside the founding year. Inside, the velvet curtains were still deep burgundy, but the tailors at the benches were younger, the sketches more daring. Across town in Omotesando, the second line's windows glowed. A mannequin wore a deconstructed suit, the fabric swatch nearby. That swatch navy wool was the same Kaori had once pressed into a stranger's palm. Now it wore a label bearing her name. Evening fell over the city. Office windows blinked off. The atelier's lights stayed on. In that glow, the old and new ateliers were just 2 points of light on the same map, linked by a single thread. The name Aoyama no longer meant only heritage. It meant second chances. The tailor who refused to fit a suit never saw this, but the city did. And somewhere between the seams, a new legacy was already wearing in.